Welcome back everyone to my Let's Play of Final Fantasy III for the Nintendo Famicom system. Last episode we had just defeated Bahamut, and now he's our level 8 summon. It's time for us to head over to Lake Dole and get the level 7 summon, the Leviathan. We want to encounter one more monster here on our way out, so we have to walk out this way anyway. You can't use the exit spell because you know, you had to step outside the dungeon there, so if you used the exit, you would just be taken back to where we fought Bahamut, so yeah, we have to hoof it out, this dungeon, so that's okay, because hey, we get our second, we get another chance to run into these saber ligers, which are on the 3rd floor and the 2nd floor here, so we got them. We get to see what Freet does with his summon. I'm trying to show off all the summon animations now that we got them, so like I said, this is a really good place to gain experience. So when I did my test run, this is where I did my grinding, and then when I got, for the bonus episode, characters up to level 99, I also grinded in here, because the enemies are weak enough that you can take them out pretty quickly, and you can always just head out when you just hang out at the entrance here, so when you need to heal, just head out and go to the Invincible. You got the free in there, so some of the future dungeons, yeah, maybe some of the enemies may have more experience, but you know, you don't have that quick in heal that you can get, you know, with the Invincible. So we're going to use the Invincible to fly over to Lake Dole. It's by the Living Forest. We have to go around the Living Forest because, remember, they said no one can enter the Living Forest for over 1,000 years. So if we try to go right to the left, right through there, that little thing, will push back the Invincible. We'll head over here, land here, and we have to get out of the Invincible here. And you have to canoe, and then basically be attacked by that sea serpent shadow. And that'll pull you into a dungeon. It's almost like you kind of think that it's like Final Fantasy II, where you get like sucked into the mouth of Leviathan, but actually that's not really the case because you actually fight Leviathan. You kind of get pulled into an underground cave, so it's a little bit longer than Bahamut's cave, so that's why I didn't do this one when I got to the floating continent. I figured the Bahamut's cave would be a little bit easier to do, so I run into a bunch of Orbus monsters. Those are the ones that guarded the elixirs back in Saronia's caverns where we got Odin. So you don't have to see them, but there are a few more new monsters that we want to get here. Get more of these items. Got some high potions, elixirs. Nice. Quite a bit of treasure in here, so got some plankti, which look more like crabs. So, good thing about this area is all these enemies are all weak to lightning, so that's where we got a bunch of lightning spells from Tupelo, and the Ramu summon will, which is the level 3 summon, we get a lot of use here too. Pretty much one-shot everything, so yeah, too bad this, unfortunately, after you get Leviathan, this dungeon kind of disappears. So, we won't be able to come back here. But it's okay. Go down here, go to the north to grab some treasure. You gotta clear out everything. Obsessive compulsiveness again. Aegis Shield, Lamia Scale, Bacchus Wine, Turtle Shell, all those items in battle. And another new enemy, the Sea Lions. So, and they back attacked us. Boo. But, like I said, we have the Summoner, and the Summoner can just summon Ramu, and probably take care of all these guys. This is where you see that the summons are much more powerful than the equivalent black magic spell at the level. So I think level 3 black magic would be the Thundara, the 2nd level Thunder. and that would not have done as much as remove. So yeah, black magic like loses its effectiveness to summons. So I think in future games they may balance it a little bit differently, where summons might take a little longer to cast. This is like still turn-based, so everybody goes in turn. We're like starting with the next game, Final Fantasy IV. They use an active time battle system, where certain actions take longer to use in the queue. So some spells might take really long to cast, usually the more powerful ones, but not always. There's some really good spells that cast really quick. That sometimes makes them really good. Like I'm thinking the Bio spell has like basically casting time of like nothing. As soon as you like select it, it usually comes right out. So summons tend to be a little bit more longer. And then in future games, like starting with Final Fantasy VIII, well I guess 7 too. They really wanted to show off graphics, and like the summons became like little mini movies, you know, like 30-second movies, and so they're kind of annoying just to watch, you know, them go through. I like the simplicity of these ones where like a thing just appears and boom, it's on the screen for a few seconds and that's it. So here's our last new enemy, random encounter enemy, the Remora. Remora is usually a fish, but this is like a coral thing. Final Fantasy VI, it's a boss on the one, boss monster in the one waterfall. In Saban's scenario, jump off a waterfall, you want this knight Scion, or you want a samurai, and you fight a bunch of piranhas, and then the Remora, he's like the king piranha, comes out and fights you. That'll be an interesting playthrough. I'm going to do a low-level playthrough of that. So there's Leviathan. So he's much easier than Bahamut. Surprisingly, he's not weak to lightning. So Tupelo, best bet is to once again use the Bio spell. So I am Leviathan. Only those with the light can receive my power. Let's see what you got. So I wonder what the summons that, since these guys are like, you know, only the people who have the light have our thing. I wonder what the summons for the Dark Warriors were. I guess from Final Fantasy IV, maybe they were like, the Leviathan palette swap is Ogopogo. Just like a Canadian monster. And then the swap for Bahamut was the Wyvern monster. It's called the best sword in the game for your main character, Cecil. Maybe somebody should make a prequel game for the Dark Warriors, their adventure with stopping the flood of light the ancients were abusing. I know they started Final Fantasy, started doing direct sequels to games. I think with 10, because there was a 10-2, and then Final Fantasy 13 had 2 sequels to it. And well, now I'm thinking back to they had the Yafru years much later, past Final Fantasy IV. So hey, you should go back and make a sequel to this one. But this game really wasn't all that well received in America, just because when it came out, we didn't get this game like in this form. I think maybe until the Pixel remaster, because they did release it later for the DS, but it was updated, like 3D graphics. They changed some of the story, rebalanced some classes, changed where you get some of the jobs. So when you got to the actual experience like this, as it was intended, didn't pop around until like the Pixel remaster. So a lot of people really didn't know about this game. So because yeah, by the time you know, like if you're in Japan, they make the game, they release it, but then you'd have to translate everything, you know, different censorships in America, like some of the religious symbols, you know, all that takes time. And so by the time that, like, Final Fantasy II, Final Fantasy III, the Japanese versions that I've been playing here, you know, were kind of ready to be shipped out, the Super Nintendo was coming out. And so they're like, well, let's just, you know, translate the new game, the Final Fantasy IV that came out for the Super Nintendo. That caused a little bit of the confusion when, later on, when Final Fantasy VII came out, people were like, what happened to, you know, 4, 5, and 6? You know, which were released over here under different numbers or not released at all. So, but, yeah, maybe some ROM hacker out there, because people do ROM hacks and make little games like that. So, unfortunately, though, a lot of the ROM hacks, I won't be playing them because, like I said, I try to keep this, you know, GPG rated, you know, and for some reason a lot of people think that it's fun or it's edgy or adulty to, you know, use a lot of profanity and swear words that aren't necessary when they're making ROM hacks. So, it seems like most people who make the ROM hacks, I guess, are young adults, teenagers, you know, so they're still in that, like, mindset, you know, where cursing is funny or needs to be done to make something interesting. So they'll just put profanity and profanity's sake, and that kind of just ruins the experience, you know, especially because, you know, some of the people who watch this, you know, they're kids. I know my niece and nephew get to see some old games. My brother, you know, says he lets them watch my playthroughs to see some old games that, you know, he played as a kid too. So yeah, trying to set a good example. So, well, unfortunately, we're going to have to switch our airships out. So, because remember when Une left us, she said, hey, when you're finished getting the Earth Fang, return back to Doger's Manor. In order to get to Doger's Manor, we have to use the Nautilus here, because Doger's Manor is back in that southern continent where the winds are really, really strong, and the Invincible, even though it's a big ship, it's not strong enough to overcome those winds. We need the real quick speed of the Nautilus. So, but then after we finish Doger's Manor, we already saw what the last dungeon in the game is, the Circus Tower. We're going to have to, once again, switch out our airship. So, unfortunately, our Nautilus does not have the cannonball feature that the Invincible does, but the enemies fall pretty quickly to our updated party. Much stronger than when we were the last time we came to Doger's Manor. But why are we being sent back to Doger's Manor? What are we here for? Find out why we came back in the next episode. Bye!